So I heard you talking recently about what you called dead rail issues
Mm.
and a way possibly that we talk about getting out of
Mhm.
this mess. But what are dead rail issues and how do you see that working out?
Well, let me posit it to you here, because I get this. The well-meaning liberal and the well-meaning conservative, there's usually one issue that they will each bring up in various ways, and I'll get these in it. And for, on the left, it's campaign finance reform. What can be done about dark money? What can be done about this? And on the right, it's the debt, right? It's spending and the debt. And, how come there isn't, I'll get I'll get a question from the right that'll always be, how come the public, why can't our politicians, why can't the press cover this issue enough? Why isn't there? And same with campaign finance reform. And the reason I call them dead rail, right? We have third rail issues where if you touch it, you electrocute yourself. No doubt. I think Medicaid is about to join Medicare and Social Security in that group. We're going to find out for
Trump
sure.
said don't F with Medicaid.
Right. And
And they
so
did,
I
but
think Medicaid is now, they did, and it will likely cost a few houses. But then there are dead rail issues, which is you can do what you want. Campaign fund. Nobody's lost an election because of the amount of money they've spent that I can think of, and nobody's lost an election because they didn't balance the budget, right? That they didn't vote to balance the budget. So here are two issues, and the reason I sit here, I was thinking about them, and I'm like, they're actually one and the same. You know how you get government spending? A lot of people spending money to convince the government for their loophole or for their write-off or for their subsidy or for their handout. And, these two advocacy groups, the debt people on the right and the campaign finance people on the left, never think about working with each other. But the fact of the matter is these two issues go hand in hand. And I think, I'm desperate to find third ways out of this polarization mess. And I think you are too. So I thought you would be into this because I could really, if you care about the debt, you should care about campaign finance reform. You really should. I think we've gotten, I used to sort of like, there's not much you can do about money in politics, but we have legalized bribery now. I mean, it's just, there are no rules, and and we're all, speaking of numb, we're totally numb to it. The debt's the same way. And literally, we are not going to do anything about either one of these issues until, I guess, until we're like watching Bitcoin bring the economy to a halt, right? Because of some scam, or until, essentially foreign governments stop buying our T-bills, right, to finance our debt. And part of me did this as my Substack today. I'd love some better ideas. I'd love to figure out a better way to convey the importance of these two issues.
Yeah.
Better for voters. Because unfortunately, as you and I both notice, voters vote on the short-term consequences, not on long-term consequences. And arguably, both of these issues are really a long-term consequence issue. And so I think they're more intertwined. And I think these two advocacy groups ought to merge their efforts if you're trying to find some effort to galvanize people over this issue.